Got a free afternoon and want to see those credits roll today? Settle down for the 7 best games that you can play in one sitting. Time is precious. As we get older, yes, I really did just start a sentence that makes me feel 84 years of age, it turns out that our priorities don't always lie with spending extended amounts of time in front of a screen. Family, friends, work, food that requires 2 hands. Life is a serious juggling act of plenty of equally important things. Before I get too existential though, it's important to note that while there are of course plenty of open world sandboxes that require literally hundreds of hours of your time, we've made a list of just those, there are also the games that just, well, don't. Games that will let you start and indeed finish them in one sitting. So if you've got a free evening or a long Sunday afternoon stretching out in front of you, in no particular order, here are the very best games you can play in one go.
As part of a required test protocol, we will stop enhancing the truth in 3, 2,
Meet Botanical Utility Droid. You can call him Bud for short, which is nice because that's what a flower does before it blossoms, and doubly nice because it also means friend. The even better news is that Bud isn't even the only lovely thing about Grow Home. This adorable platformer from Ubisoft's Reflection Studio is a happy-making skip through a joyously beautiful world of peace and tranquility. Grow Home will take you less time to finish than even the theatrical cut of The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, and give you similar fuzzy feelings of happiness and contentment as you harvest seeds and jump from floating island to floating island. How precious. Everything about this little masterpiece feels perfect. The physics, the visuals, the way Bud moves. It's all wonderful, and you've even got plenty of time afterwards to settle down and play it all over again after a nice cup of tea. Now, just like Stardew Valley, What Remains of Edith Finch ends up on a lot of our lists, but not to have it here would be practically treasonous. While you can finish it in a couple of hours, those 2 hours will probably be 2 of the very best hours you've ever spent gaming. In fact, they'll make you see all the other 2-hour chunks you've ever spent in the world in a completely different light. Yeah, don't think about the Star Wars prequels because you might get furious, which is exactly the opposite of how you should be feeling after exploring the Finch house. To save any spoilers of this fine champagne of first-person narrative adventures, I'll keep things vague, but as the last in a line of Finches, Edith returns to her family home to uncover the secrets held within. It's beautiful, heartbreaking, and utterly unique. And chances are, like lots of the games on this list, you're going to want to play it again.
Being inside for the first time, I felt like I'd stepped behind a painting.
Speaking of games you're going to want to play more than once, if anyone before 2007 had told me that I'd repeatedly play a video game in which I'm verbally abused by a psychopathic robot, I'd probably have paid them as much attention as GLaDOS says we should pay companion cubes.
The Enrichment Center urges you to disregard its advice.
But here we are more than 10 years later, and few titles can beat the perfect puzzles and indeed insults of Portal. There are plenty of psychological reasons that Portal presses all of our buttons so effortlessly, but this is a blend of mental exertion and perfect scripting so exquisite that we've never really had anything to compete since. Well, Portal 2, but that's definitely more of a full shift than a well-spent afternoon. Shell's first adventure might be short in game terms, but it never feels like it. Making your way through the rooms of Aperture Science is like eating a delicious tasting menu of brain food that you never want to get to the end of.
Most importantly, under no circumstances should you.
When it comes to conversation choices, games sometimes feel limited or a little clunky when it comes to your different options. The action stops, you stare at the sentences on screen, and finally decide. Not so much in Oxenfree, where, just like being an actual teenager, it's almost impossible not to talk constantly, and you actually feel like you get to know your companions. On a journey through a spooky island where all is not what it seems, Oxenfree lets you join Alex and her friends as they uncover the secrets at work. It'll take you around 4 hours to finish, but it doesn't feel anything like that as you bond with the characters and teen speak your way across the island. Oxenfree is basically an interactive supernatural teen horror movie that lets you choose your own way and even who to spend the majority of your time with. Plus, if you aren't a massive fan of scares, this is enjoyably creepy, but you won't be having any sleepless nights. Win-win.
Yeah, no, it's a nice perk, I guess.
Not to be confused with Grow Home at the start of this list, Gone Home is a little less robot and plant-filled, but no less enjoyable than Bud's adventures. It's a little more on the emotional side though, so ready your sadness glands, also known as tear ducts. As the title suggests, this is all about arriving at your family home and piecing together what everyone has been up to while you've been away at college. Gone Home isn't a horror game, even if it might feel like it sometimes as you wander through the empty rooms, picking up items and working out what's been going on. There won't be any spoilers here as it's too good to even know more than a hint, but Gone Home perfectly evokes the feelings of growing up with rooms packed with teenage posters and the secrets that lurk in all of our bedrooms where we think no one can find them. Play it and weep.
I felt tears starting in my eyes.
But what if you don't want to cry? Well, the good news is that Layers of Fear is here to make you scream. Blooper Team's expertly layered mousetrap of jump scares is primed and ready for you to enter this house of horrors where a psychopathic painter must finish his grand masterpiece. If you've ever found paintings remotely unnerving with their unblinking eyes, Layers of Fear is here to haunt your nightmares. You have no weapons here against the darkness, only your wits as you make your way through a house that revolves around you like an Escher-esque nightmare. There's even a helping of creepy dolls if the claustrophobia and darkness don't get you first. Crank up your headphones for this haunted mansion ride and be glad it isn't longer than 3 hours. I suggest maybe a break in the middle though. This is quite the brush with fear. Because wandering a Hebridean island with beautiful piano music and tears rolling down your face is the best way to conclude our list of short games. Dear Esther is the heartbreaking but wonderful story of a man who's lost his wife in a car crash. While wandering the bleak but gorgeous island, he talks to her through letters about everything that he's gone through and all of his deepest thoughts and emotions. Okay, this all makes it sound too depressing for words, but Dear Esther is actually the opposite of that. Whether you're making your way across moorlands or exploring dripping phosphorus-lit caves, you're accompanied by the soaring musical soundtrack of the Chinese Room's co-founder Jessica Curry. Even if it wasn't such a compelling story, this experience is worth it for the score alone. What's that you say? Sounds like a plan?
When the battery runs out in my torch, I will descend into the caves and follow only the phosphorescence home.
Phew! Hopefully you managed to get through this video in one sitting. Consider this my credits rolling. You did it! Yay! Let me know if we missed your favourite one-sitting game in the comments below. Drop us a like if you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe to Logitech G for more videos just like this one. If you do already subscribe, hit that notification bell to make sure you know exactly when our next video drops.